Do you think these processes can connect to larger agendas of social change or maybe curriculum reform in the state?
What do you mean the larger social agendas?
Of social change. I'm talking about economic development and improvement of the quality of life of the tribal community.
Anytime that to me, it's about the process. And that process, I don't care if it's on an economic development project, an education project, a homelessness project, a Save the Dogs on the Res project, whatever it is, that collaborative, the things that I talked about earlier about relationships and reciprocity, being respectful, talking about sustainability, renewal, giving people things that matter in their community, walking in a good way when you're there. All of those things are part of the process of your work. And I'm telling you, as somebody who works across sectors and across disciplines, that's the same process I use when I walk on those different projects, or in those urban Indian community versus rural or reservation Indian community. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, definitely. And the projects that have those strong collaborative networks and where there's strong participation and authentic participation, where everyone is giving and sharing resources equally, have been the most successful projects, have been the ones that are if you look at what is published as best practices, whether in health and human services, economics, education, justice, are the ones that have those collaborative processes, long-term authentic relationships. So I think it's critical, because how can you, and I always like to argue in a scientific way when I'm with scientists, you cannot generalize your expertise from one community or one project to another. That is against scientific rules. So I don't understand why we academics come into communities and think that we are the experts. You cannot generalize unless you, even myself, who has 20 years as a professional working in Indian communities, a lot on education, mostly on education, I still don't consider myself an expert when I come in. That's how, the degree I take the collaborative process when I work with people. Everybody's different. And so I don't understand why I don't care if you're a policymaker, an academic, an outside educator, an outside economist, whatever, that you think you can fix this community's problems with whatever theories, philosophies, or programming you've developed or espoused to. It's your job to go in there and see, like, if you have some favorite things you like, what part, like, there are parts of the community-based participatory research that I like, and there are parts that I don't. But I take the parts that work best for this environment and these people, and I offer it to them. We test it out, we talk about it. If it doesn't, we modify. That's why my evaluation plan or my instruments are in constant flux. Michael Quinn Patton would call it utilization-focused evaluation. He would also call it developmental evaluation. I had the privilege of presenting for a panel that he put together on that last year at the American Evaluation Association, and but he looks at it as his frameworks are a process, and they're a framework, and they're a tool, and it's a framework that it breathes, and it's flexible, mm-hmm. and it lets people and communities be the way they want to be. It's the closest thing that I can find to the old ways, where the elder doesn't tell you the answer or doesn't prescribe the framework. You have to become part of that in order to understand it for yourself and to articulate it and to hopefully be able to help build the capacity and bring up others as you go along the way the old ways say you're supposed to be.